Am Negan.
I am Negan.
I am Negan.
What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of I Am Negan. This one is for the debut episode of The Walking Dead World Beyond, episode 1, titled Brave. This is an interesting spinoff. That's all I have to really say about that, because it's definitely going in another direction, which is fine, right? Kids can't keep having the same group of people or type of people in different locations running from zombies, right? It's very much about a growth in of how people evolve, and it's always been that way. And I think that's what made the show so special originally, that it's not just a monster zombie show. It's how do we as people come together or separate further during an apocalypse. So how do we deal with it? And that's what we're going to get into with this episode. So again, I didn't even say it from the other one, but I am Adam Vale, the host of this show. I'm joined by Dana Abercrombie.
Hello, everyone.
And Richard Bailey Jr.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so we are from the Koalition. That's with a K, thecoalition.com. You can check out the site for more content, reviews, you name it, we got it. It's over there. So we're going to cover this one because this was a big one for a few reasons. After we've watched it, we had a lot to say, and we definitely have a lot to share. So we're going to get right into it. We are introduced with Iris. Dana, real quick, you seem to know some stuff about her. Iris, the actress.
Yes, Iris is played by Aaliyah Royal. She was previously seen in The Red Line, which was a CBS miniseries. She played the daughter of Noah Wiley. It was about a cop who accidentally shoots a black man thinking that he was armed. He was unarmed. It was a very emotional role. She, I believe, was a Muslim girl in the show. And it was one of those kind of her dealing with everything that's going on, and she had to have really great range, and she was really good in it as well. She also had another secret, and I mean, it's okay to spoil it because it's been like, 3 years. She also was a terrorist planning to blow up the school.
Wow.
So very interesting character, very interesting dynamic of how they did it, and now she is in this role where she plays the older sister, and things happened and not what I thought it would be.
All right, so we're introduced with Iris over at Campus Colony. That's the location here, and this is 10 years after the outbreak, correct? That's how they described it. This is not to be confused with like what's going on in the current Walking Dead universe. This is separate. This is 10 years after. And this is in Omaha, Nebraska. Right, but then they also mentioned Portland, right?
Yes.
And that's a little bit of confusion, but they throw that in. But the actual location they keep saying is this is Nebraska. Okay, this is what's going on. It's the day before Monument Day, which is a big event, and we'll find out. But this is what's throwing us into the whole story. And she has a sister, and there's Hope, and there's a school bus of kids, and they're all going out to, we don't really know at this point, but they're going off campus to a location. She sneaks on the bus. We don't know much. She's, for some reason, not allowed to get on this bus, so she sneaks underneath, usually where you put your bags and stuff like that. It doesn't have a door. They have a little fencing, a little, what would you call it? Like a little guard sheet that they put. I guess the whole thing's in there. Again, wouldn't really hold anything. I don't even know why they have that. It's obviously that was done just for what it's leading into, which is as this group with Iris on the bus and everyone, all the other members on the bus, they're heading to this location. Hope is underneath in that baggage handle part, and they hit a zombie, and the zombie gets stuck in the side of the wheel or the side of the bus and tries to grab her. All right, so this is something that's the first introduction we see with a zombie on this show. In this effect, the first splash screen had some zombies, but this is the first interaction. Not much. She doesn't seem too startled. It's like, whatever, it's there, she's hitting, but it's not a big deal. Which is a key part, because then it's telling us they're accustomed to this. They know that these zombies exist, because from the way this show was pitched was that these people live a sheltered life. These kids did not experience everything that we've seen with Judith and Carl and all that. That's not the life they lived. Right? Which I also find a little off-putting, because it's 10 years after the outbreak, but these kids are older than 10 years. Right? Iris is... What do you think they're trying to portray? They don't really go into her age, but in one scene she's in a lecture hall. So college?
I don't know. I think that, campus colony. It just happens to be a campus, and any age, because you have the kids, the other kids, and they are much younger. And
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So then they get off. They get to their location. Everyone gets off the bus, and we have Felix, who's the head of security, with Huck, which is a horrible name, and that's his female second in command / love interest, right? I think they mentioned that a little bit. And so they escort the students on the bus, because the students are also with a banner. Now that banner, what was the banner, Dana?
It was basically just a welcoming banner for for Monument Day, welcoming the committee, the Civic Republic military.
That's what it was, the Civic Republic, because
yes.
All right, because there's the other group. So they're going off to a field. Now we find out why Hope wanted to tag along, because there is like a graveyard site. There's some poles and not so much of a formal graveyard, but there is a little tack on image of or wording there that says it's for her mom. So she's there to go visit her mom, who had passed. So we learn that much about her, and the rest of the students are out in a big field. A helicopter shows up, and this is where we're introduced to the colonel, aka she says, "Call me Elizabeth," and she's part of another group. And she introduces herself to Felix. This seems to be the first time they've ever met, because Felix doesn't know too much about her, and also says he doesn't even know where she's coming from. He's like, wherever you're from, he doesn't even know. This, I have some issues with all of what I just discussed. If it sounds like, oh, well, Adam, you sound like you're a little bit all over the place, because that's how they showed it. This whole thing was portrayed in this way, really fast, and not a lot of context. What was going on? Rich, what did you think of how this introduction to Hope, Iris, Felix, not really understanding all of his main role. Is he just the leader? Is he just security leader? We assume, and the reason why I said security leader, could we find that out later? And now we see that they're introduced with the colonel, but they don't seem to know much about her either. So what did you think of this?
Well, I mean, I think the way that they are telling the story, you're not going to get all your answers in the first episode. They are trying to reveal the characters and peel back the layers of what makes them tick. And as you will get into, we learn a lot more about the Iris character, because there is a traumatic event that they did experience when they were younger, and she has not really adjusted to that, the way that you would think. So, I mean, again, like this whole first episode is just basically giving you an idea, telling you this is the characters. Everything is basically setting up what's going to happen moving forward with the season. So, obviously, there's going to be a lot of questions about what's going on, but I think that was intentional. So I don't have too much of an issue with that. It's just it's a slow building process for telling the story.
Yeah. All right. So then Elizabeth, she gets off the plane. She has her armed soldiers with her. There's some walkers that approach. Now, Huck and Felix, they have their sticks with a blade that sticks out, and they were ready to go and attack. But she says, no, my guards got it. And this was pretty much to show that these are armed, trained killers, because they were just like dead on, one-shot kill for all these walkers. They were all gone. And I was like, all right, don't worry about it. We'll cover it, because we attracted them due to the helicopter noise, but we got that worked out for the next go-around. And they go and they meet with the group, and Iris is there, and she shows a banner, and it's like, oh, we're us. We're all together to, happy-go-lucky, and this and this and that. It's like, all right, whatever. Doesn't seem like she cares too much in regards to Elizabeth. She goes with it. So then it cuts over back to the main colony. Now, Dana, if you can take it from here.
Can just to backtrack some because a
Yeah,
lot of stuff was missed. Okay, so as you're saying, this takes place 10 years after the outbreak, and what they do because it's a different time period, and these are kids. They call them empties instead of zombies or walkers, so they're called the empties. What it
did they
is
mention
that
in that part? I guess they
yes,
did.
yes, they
I
did.
felt like it was later when they were training, and they were like
Mm-mm.
killing empties. How this is how we kill empties. But whatever. All right, fine. Yeah, it's funny that the universe decided to change it, meaning instead of going with the whole Walker thing, it's like, oh no, this group calls them empty, so that's going to be the new wordage for describing these things. All right, keep going.
So they live in the campus colony, which is around 10,000 followers. I said followers, survivors, and it's a very comfortable kind of privileged life compared to everything that's going on in the outside world. They have all the food, the comfort. There's liquor bottles. They're able to make and do things, and they're able to get an education and live relatively good. This is events where we heard of empties. We've never really had to encounter or had to escape or invade them. We've heard of them. We know they exist, but that's just something that's out there. So they also grew up with the guardian, who is also the security expert, who's named Felix, and he's there to take care of the kids because their kid's father left to join the Civic Republic military in order to work on a cure. So he's one of the researchers and developers, and he's trying to help the government get a cure for this zombie issues that they're having. Um, Now, this does connect to fear and to The Walking Dead. Very specifically, it also kind of connects to Rick Grimes, without spoiling much of anything, but the location of where Rick Grimes was kind of shuttled away from Virginia is the location of where they're at. You'll notice if you watch the episode is two black helicopters. So that right there shows the connection without really fully explaining anything. But we do know that Rick Grimes will later be folded into the show. Whether it's we'll physically see him or they'll give us information as to where his status is.
See, and
But
that's
that
where I
has
get confused because I
why.
see the connection because of the helicopters and the logo on the helicopters.
Yes. Hmm.
But Elizabeth is not from that community, and those are her helicopters.
We don't know. Here's the thing now, when we were introduced to Elizabeth, she was there as a representative. She's not doesn't run it, but she's there as a representative of the Civic Republic military. Her name is Elizabeth
Yeah.
Colblack, what I
Hmm.
think is
Hmm.
Colblack.
Well, she says
And
just call her Elizabeth. So
just she
yeah.
wants to be cool and hip and relate to the kids. Just call me Elizabeth.
Hmm.
That kind of
Yeah,
situation
yeah,
that's
yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
But we call her evil.
The
That's her. Keep going.
well, basically, the Hope knows exactly who she is. That is when she's out there in the grave site, visiting her mother. She sees what's going on, and she promptly flips her off. And it's also indicated, kind of, that Elizabeth knows who she is. Well, not indicated. She knows who she is. Basically, we'll get on later into that episode, no, that scene as to why they know who she is. Um, then all of a sudden, what part am I on? They show how the school is set up where they have different classes and they have fight techniques and kind of survival things. But it's like if you was to take an extracurricular activity at your regular high school, like fencing. No one. I'm not going to say they don't take it seriously. It's just like, it's just a part of the curriculum. But these are not exactly highly trained ex-military fighters.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. It's just a part of school and education. They do educate them on what the zombies or empties, what they are, and they're fully aware of the events that happen. Now, again, this is Monument Day, which is the day that they kind of give tribute to all of the lives that was lost during the whole zombie apocalypse. And a lot of the students come from families where they lost their parents.
Hmm.
So that's the kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is see, and it's a lot of information, and this is stuff that gets thrown at us.
Mhm.
But the big question, and
Right.
that also came from this, is who's running this place?
We are not supposed. It's literally the pilot episode, my
I
dear.
understand, but
They're not
usually,
going to
but
announce
usually,
everything.
I
You
get
are
it,
one of
but
those
usually,
people who wants to know the ending.
every show, especially in Walking Dead, every location we have seen who's running it. Whether it's Ezekiel in the Kingdom, or we had the other dude from the hilltop. You know what I mean? We are always introduced with whoever's running it, and I was so surprised going through this whole episode. There was not even a mention of who's running this colony. And
We're trying to set up
I
why
can
the
get no,
kids.
I can understand. I can understand the
Well, well,
setup. I get
actually,
it.
well, actually, I thought it was implied that Felix is,
That's what
as
I
the
thought.
guardian.
But
Yeah, yeah,
he's just listed as the guardian, but he never says that he's the leader of the group. Of
yeah,
Because if that's the case, if he's just a guardian, that means the leader of the group is Iris and Hope's father, who left.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But
You
he's
s-
not there, so Felix is
uh,
now left in charge. That's what I
He
but he made
Felix
it
is
seem
the security expert, which
yeah, yeah.
we'll learn why he's a failure at that.
Yeah, but then we
But
also, but that's the thing. Yeah, we'll definitely learn that. But then he even, again, with his guardianship, he implies that he's a guardian of the girls, because
yes,
with the next scene, if I'm getting this correct, because there's a lot of little in between scenes. People can watch it, but the key scenes is one where Iris is in a classroom. She's passed a note, and it basically says that her sister has been arrested for selling hooch. Right, so
hmm
and that's the wording they actually use, hooch, which is funny. And so she had some moonshine, she had some booze. So you see her in a
she had
cell.
not some. She had like a whole entire cellar.
All right, she had a whole entire cell, but whatever. She's still in jail, and who's there? Felix, right?
hmm
And he's the only one there. So there's no other cops, whatever. If you want to use the word
Because
cops,
this is a campus. This
I
is
get
not
it. I get
exactly
it. I'm
like
just saying what I saw, okay? And I
Sunset
didn't
Row
see these
ish.
guys. And when
It,
Iris finds out, she shows up and she was like, what's going on? And this is my sister. And he says, yes. And I was made the guardian of you girls. So
that's not
then
no
he
no
didn't say that?
no. What happens is he was saying, "Oh, in order for her to be released from prison, and it's not a prison. It's like you
No,
ever
it's a
seen
holding
the Andy
cell. No, no,
Griffin
no.
show,
It's a holding
and
cell. I
it's like
get
the
it.
little holding
No,
shell with the little
he
drunk
had no.
guy,
Yeah, no, he made it
right?
clear a few seconds after he had no intentions of keeping her there. It was
Right,
just to teach her a lesson, which,
right.
whatever.
Because he
But the point is that he just said that the father put him in charge to watch over them. So
no,
that's what he's doing, and he saw
no.
what's happening here. You're saying no. Okay, so you're
Here's
saying that
what
he's just
happened.
a guardian of
She's with this.
everyone?
Stop it, stop it. What happened was after she's in the the holding cell, and he's explaining what happened, and she's like, oh well, she would need a parent to release her, and she was like, oh well, you are the guardian. And he's like, oh really, kind of like a jokingly, I already know this, in the terms of like, oh, I'm here just to teach you a lesson and to hold you here. And this is when they go into the conversation of their father leaving him in charge so that when he was able to go to the CRM, the Civic Republic Military, there's guardianship. So he watches over them.
All right, if you say, because even when he was talking to Hope, when she was behind bars, and he's like, I don't know why you're doing this, especially who your father is and what he did for me. So
Yes.
again, it's like, all right, well, you're just one that's falling in line. They never really refer to the father as the leader of the community who's just out.
Nobody stated he's the leader.
Nobody stated anything. That's what I'm saying. That
No,
should have been.
you're stuck on the leader of the community.
I am, because it's
There's
like,
only two
if you
seasons
walk
of this
into,
show.
I get it, but I'm just saying
20 episodes.
this is just the basis of everything we've ever watched. Any western, any movie, everything. If a new
Can
person
we
comes to
just
town,
get
they're like,
through?
who runs this town? Hi,
right.
I'm the mayor. Okay, thank you. Now I know. We don't have that, so I'm just saying
Because
that
that's
we
not
have.
important to the
It
story.
is
Yeah,
important because
yeah.
we have Elizabeth who shows up, right? Who says she's representing of some importance to another community, and you would think he would
So,
introduce himself. Hey, I'm the one running the show right now. I'm greeting you. He does it. He just says his damn name, and then Huck says, "I'm Huck. It's a long story." Okay, but what's your position, Huck? Who are you? You know what I mean? Give me a title.
The
She gave her
second in
title.
command
Elizabeth
refused
said
to
that
do it.
she's a lieutenant. She gave her damn title. This is what I'm saying. It's not
so,
consistent on that level, and that pissed me off.
so can I make just one quick comment? Uh, I certainly understand the criticism, but we have to remember this is a show about the kid characters.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
The description is a coming of age story
Mm,
about their journey. So it's
mm,
about their development, not so much all the other details. They can come back to
mm,
that stuff later, though. I'm assuming.
So a show that
mhm.
you would see on Freeform. This is what you're saying. They've turned it into one of
Yes,
those.
this
That's what
is
this
a
is. Thank you.
freeform Disney Plus.
Thank you. All right.
I
Listen,
said
because
stand
what I'm
by
gonna
me with
say, because
Dobby.
again, I'm on a seesaw. People, if you listen, imagine a seesaw going up and down because this is my criticism. But
He's all over the place. He's very angry.
I'm very angry right now because I see where it's going, and I don't like how they're getting there. But I do like where it goes. That's my issue. I feel like all this is it's all mumbled up, and it doesn't need to be done this way just to get to where we need to go. This is all some other side story. Because what? All right, so Kate's the lead on this one. The next scene, I think, is, and here's another thing, a little backstory for you guys. So Dana Abercrombie is our entertainment editor at the Koalition, and she was
Okay.
given the issue episode 1 and 2. Right, you were able to see both of them, so you see where this is going from here. So
Mhm.
the next scene after that whole scene there with the little prison getting her sister out, and they have is this also the scene where she goes to Iris goes to see her therapist friend who is sick?
Yes. This is now what happened is Iris is suffering. We learn this in the very opening credit. She's suffering from nightmares. Um, she kind of imagines herself as an empty or a walker. And she's very troubled by an event that you kind of alluded to through various little tiny bits of flashback. But what ends up happening, she goes to meet the therapist who is sick. She's on, that's very important to the story. She's on the oxygen tank. And she's one of those people who, because of this event from 10 years ago and what happened to her parents, she is someone who's like, you know what? I'm going to be very straight and narrow. I'm going to have my life where I'm going to be a scientist, and nope, there's no time for partying and games. Let's focus, let's be serious, that type of person. And that is because during the, well, 10 years ago, well, she alluded to as the plane fell from the sky. This is when the outbreak kind of
She keeps
happened.
saying the
And
sky fell. She just says the
she
sky
said the
fell. The
sky
sky fell.
fell.
I'm like,
And we're taken through a flashback where it is a plane crash. That's why the sky fell. It is literally a plane crash, and there's bits and pieces falling like it's an asteroid. And there are zombies running around and killing people, and there's fire and destruction. She was with her sister and her father. They were together but got separated through the pure chaos and the zombies. She was paired with her mother, and they came across a woman who had a car, and they was trying to just basically get out of the area. The woman was very scared, and she was like, no, I have to get to my family. I can't do that. And she pulled out a gun in hopes of, get away. What happened was Iris ended up kind of running kind of towards her, and that spooked the woman, and she shot her mother.
Hold on.
And
yeah.
This,
am I
this this is Hope, not Iris.
sorry, this is
Yeah,
Hope.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
This
sorry.
is the other.
No, you
sister.
good. You
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
You good. Yeah.
So she ended up shooting the mother. She, in like full rage, the daughter picked up the gun and shot the woman back. When she fell, we saw that she was pregnant.
Mhm.
And as she lay dying, the girl went and took the woman's necklace, and she wears it to this day
As a reminder.
as a reminder. And this is something that she's trying to overcome, and that's why she speaks to the therapist. And the therapist is basically saying,
And
look,
it's Iris that's
Uh-huh.
speaking to the therapist.
yes.
So
And so the therapist is basically saying to Iris, you have your head so far up into the future, you're unable to see what's now. Unable to appreciate what's around you now. And she kind of takes that as like, maybe, not really, serious about it, and she leaves.
And this is a story that everyone can relate because we're always told,
Mhm.
hey, go to school, get your education, focus on school until you get a good job. That is very important. But you also have to remember this is your youth. You need to live for the moment also. So if there's get-togethers with friends and this and that, do it. Enjoy yourself. Don't get reckless, but just enjoy yourself because yeah, you are gonna graduate. You'll go get a job, and then you're gonna work a 9 to 5 or whatever, and that's life. And you're gonna try to reminisce of your youth and the things that you did. And if it's just work, you're not really living it. So just live for the moment, and it makes perfect sense, especially during that time in that type of situation where hell, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. A fence could break down, a horde of walkers could come in, and the shit can get wiped away. We've seen that on the main Walking Dead. So it looks like she is giving her some advice, serious life advice that applies even more so to their current situation.
Right. And so this is when she comes back to the house, and I believe this is when she's talking to her sister,
Hope, yeah.
to Hope, and she's kind of upset about the Hope kind of did a prank with the sign, what they was waiting with the welcoming committee for the CRM. And we just kind of like little cute banter that where we see their relationship with each other, and we see that they're close and they're supportive of each other. And Hope is
She's the wild one. She's the
she's
one
the
that, yeah.
wild one, the stereotypical wild girl who doesn't listen to authority, and Iris is the straight and narrow one who has a plan for everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we do see that they care and love and support each other very well.
Mm-hmm. And I think at this point we're also introduced to one of the other members, the one that knows karate. Was it?
The boy?
Yeah, the boy. What was it? Which one is it? Because there's two of them.
There's two of them. The boy who knows karate is he's the skinnier one. Oh dear, I just lost my notes. He is no, he is the I'm sorry. He's Elton.
Elton. So Elton, and it's key with Elton because Elton then tells him that he ventures out. He shows them an item that he has, and they're like, "Where did you get this?" And he was like, "Well, I go out." And he's looking for something that he lost, he says. But at least in this episode, we don't know exactly what that is. But he finds a way out.
Right.
He says he's looking for something he lost, but at the same time, he scavenged. And he also wants to see what's going on in the outside world. And so that's a key part of information right there. So we already know, all right, so they have a member of their crew, their friendship crew, that actually knows what's going on out there.
Not friendship, acquaintance.
All right,
Really.
so we'll say acquaintance. He's there.
Like you bump into the same.
No, I
person
get it,
on
but they
camera.
didn't blow him off. Like when he started talking, they were like, "Who are you? Like, well, how dare you jump into our conversation?" They were cool
Well,
with him.
that's because he met. That's because he kind of ran into Iris and not necessarily Hope.
So you think Hope would have just blown him off, just like she blew
Hope
off the
is
first one?
more
Because she met. We didn't go into it because it was a quick interaction. But when she met the other boy,
Silas.
when she bumped into him because he saw her exiting the bottom of the yellow bus, and she was like, "You didn't see anything, right?" And he's like, "Good talk." And that's it. It's like, all right, just blowing it off. And he already, later on, you hear him say his role in the community kind of sucks. People look down on him and they make fun of him and shit. So,
Right.
all right, keep going.
And so this is the part where she's in a room, different, I guess you would call it technology equipment, different equipment, and she opens up and there's a fax or a fax machine ish where she is able to get messages from her dad. And this is shown earlier where she's able to like get his messages before, and that's how she sneaks it into the book that makes it look like she's reading the book, but she's not. However, this one says, my safety is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble, essentially.
And that's the
And
thing.
that's
Oh, sorry. And all the messages she receives are very vague and one sentence. That's it. It's which is kind of, we'll find out more later on. I'm assuming in other episodes, but it's just like if you can get this far out to send this type of facts, why can't you just write a little more? Just give more content. Instead, it's like these little riddle pieces. Like, I'm not safe. This is not that. It's, okay, all right, whatever. I get it. Story based. You want to progress this, but all right, whatever.
well, if your life is in danger.
No. I know. Then it has to be
I'm not
quick.
gonna be,
It has
Dear
to be quick.
diary.
Then that's a big quick. Danger, help. Then go that far, and now we know.
That's why he said, my safety is not guaranteed.
Yeah,
That
all
was
you
like
do is
straight
add
to
one
the
word, danger, and we know, right? If I were to tell
She
you,
had other messages.
if
where
I
she
text you, Dana, tomorrow, danger,
was
help,
reading-
you would call 911 for me. You would know instantly. I wouldn't have to say, my safety is guaranteed. I'm like, what are you trying to say? Just say it. Just scream
Right.
it out. All right, whatever. So yeah.
So- This is when she runs to Felix, who is still, remember, the Guardian, and he knows that they're communicating. He's a little sneaky too. And he knows, and he's like, we don't know what's really going on. We don't have any answers. That kind of, we should just wait and see. He's fine. It's a secure location. He's good. Don't worry about it. And it just keeps playing on the sisters' minds, and it's just not something that's sitting right with them. And then this is how we're reintroduced to Silas, the boy.
Mm-hmm. But wait, real quick,
I feel like
there's one little. There's a lot in this, but here's one little note with all this: is that Elizabeth. The reason why they're acting like this is because they already know that Elizabeth said that they asked if they can interact Iris and Hope if they could talk to their father. They're like, no, he's in a secure location. He has to focus on his work, and he gets cut off, and that's what pissing them off. Is the fact that they have to do this sneaking. Like, why can't we just see our dad? Why can't we go there? Why can't he call? Why can't we do any? Nope. That's just not how it works. So they don't trust this woman. And that's a key part, and that's why there's all this sneaking on the side, because they have a feeling that he's not safe. She already had some issues just from that fact alone, that she couldn't interact with the dad, and he had to do it. But now this confirms her suspicions of that other group and Elizabeth.
Right.
All right, keep going.
So this is kind of when Elton comes back in and sees that she has a letter. Well, that's not even like sees. It's more like Iris, who's reading the letter. It's like, look, here is the letter. That's supposed to be a secret because we could get in trouble and my dad could basically die. And she's just basically showing Elton, which is kind of something I didn't fully understand. And he's like, oh my gosh. So he tells her about sneaking out. That way they both have each other's secrets. And then all of a sudden, Silas comes in. Because remember, they're making donuts with the Easy Bake Oven that they found.
Yeah,
because,
that's what he found, the Easy Bake Oven.
Right. Elton is a scavenger. So he goes out and finds like, oh, remember that time in the 90s? What's the 90s?
They don't remember. I'm surprised they even knew that much.
They don't know. They wasn't born.
Exactly. I was like, hey.
This takes place in 2020. So 2010 was when it started. So they was probably, if you just figure, like around 18. So then I failed math, but
yeah, but the whole, I'm still surprised with the whole time thing. I think it should have been a little further up past the 10, just because of the age of some of these characters.
I don't know if you can, because of how it would probably impact the Rick Grimes story.
Yeah. Well, that, yeah, and other things, and that's a dead giveaway. Just from that, just from the age, from the time jump, just that window, I feel it's a dead giveaway that they are going to tie in to one or both of the other shows. So.
Well, yeah, they stated that it ties in.
I know, but they you know how they get very vague with certain things, and it's like, what point? It could have been, they could have easily done, let's say 20, 30 years, and we could have seen an older version of Rick. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. But this seems like it's very close in time of the version that we're seeing now happening on The Walking Dead.
Right.
Okay, keep going.
So after that, they kind of all just make this band of brothers and women of, let's go rescue Dad. Let's figure out what's going on, which again is kind of really out of character, especially when it comes to Iris, because Iris is the very straight and narrow, this is my plan, this is life goals, this is what I have to do, and she's kind of uncertain about it. Now, and this, I don't think I'm telling this in the right order.
Probably not, no, because I think there's one other scene that we're missing.
Because we forgot the doctor.
The doctor, yeah. She went to visit the doctor, which is more like she went to a holding
She went
area.
to go back, and I believe it was to show the message.
Yeah, but she found out that she had passed, and she was already a walker.
She was
whatever they're calling
the empties.
The empties.
She's an empty.
So she's an empty now because she died, and as you know, when you die, because this virus that they have there is airborne, and she turned. So that was another part, and I think that's what also triggered her, because I think she was going to talk to the doctor about what's going on and what she should do and how she should react. But once she witnesses that the doctor has turned, I think that automatically solidifies in her mind of what she has to do, which is, you know what? Like the doctor said, live for the moment, I need to go find my dad. That's it. I'm done with this. I'm done with the messages and waiting for another one. I don't need any assurance. I'm ready to go. She talks to Hope. She talks to the other two boys are there. They were like, we want in. And then that's when the smaller one says that he knows karate also. And the whole thing. And the big, yeah, and then the big dude was like, I have nothing here. People treat me like shit. So I'm down for anything. Let's bounce.
Right.
And that's, hey, that's relatable, right? It's like, yeah, there's
Right.
always going to be somebody who's like, I got nothing else. I mean, it's hell. That's why a lot of gangs are formed, right? So they,
Yeah, it was like a little game.
yeah, it's like a little gang, right? So they're cool with it, and then fast forward to the next day. They don't really, the way they do the cut, it makes it seem like it's the next day. Now it's a ceremony. It's Monument Day, right? Elizabeth
Right.
is on stage. She's giving a speech to the audience of a campus colony. And at the same time, while she's doing the speech, she does a little presentation. She wants to introduce Iris and say, hey, she's the future. She's the next
See,
scientist in your
right.
group.
The
And
CRM.
yeah, the CRM says, hey, come up here, say some words, which is unexpected. Iris stands up. She gets a podium. She's about to give somewhat of a formal speech, and then she stops. And this is the part that sort of threw me off because I expected more of a reaction. She looks at Elizabeth. She's like, you know what? I don't trust you. And Elizabeth just looks at her and just mouths, instead of like in shock, like, oh man, you're embarrassing me. She's like, you will. Well, whatever. And then even the crowd, no one reacts. I'm waiting for like reactions on the, gasp, what you expect. Like, oh my God, what's going on? What's happening? None of that. And then she just goes on to her speech about, if you recall any of the speech, Dana.
Basically, she was saying that, she was telling them about the nightmares that she was having
Mm-hmm.
and how she had why she was the way she was and why she was a stickler to the proper education and doing everything the right way, and that she has to learn how to just live for that moment. And she was telling the kids this, and it seemed that the lieutenant was very kind of pleased, but kept trying to assure her that, we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can trust us,
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
that very overly Stepford wife way.
Yeah. It is what it is. And
It
then,
was, it was, it, yeah,
yeah,
it
it's
was
like
not
that
good.
whole thing. It didn't flow right for me.
It was too much foreshadowing, too much exposition. Um, it just seemed hastily written in some areas. There's also another part that I missed that is very important between the two sisters. They both have different versions of what happened that night, and Iris is still kind of unable to tell Hope what really happened. Hope believed that they were separated, and the empties attacked the mom, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not what happened at
That's
all.
not what happened.
So
No.
she's also living with that kind of guilt. So you see, it throws a lot of things at you in the first episode where it's just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not even, what, halfway done? Maybe a quarter?
Well, maybe no, probably even more so because right after this, if I'm remembering correctly, that's when they decide to leave, and then they
Mm-hmm.
follow the younger one. I what's his name? I keep forgetting his damn name.
Elton.
Elton John. Gotta remember Elton. They follow Elton through his path to get out, and poof, that's it. Broad daylight
No,
now.
where we missed the
What
part
did we
where
miss?
the woman again comes back. She's always there,
Oh
which made
yes,
it so
that was right. That's right. When
creepy.
I put in my notes and I told you, I was like, 1 minute. It's at night. It's that night from right, and Iris and Hope are out in the street walking and arguing about how they don't trust this woman, and then she just shows up. She
Like,
just
hello.
yeah, she just pops up, and this is why you should trust me, and and she goes into the whole thing. But all right,
The map.
yeah.
The map.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when she's like, you should trust me. I'm okay. And she's like, here's how you can trust me. I'm going to give you kind of like, it looks like a Chuck E. Cheese map of where your father is and that he is in New York. And to prove that I'm not lying, because if you was to show anyone that I gave you this map, they would know that it was me and they could essentially basically kill me because I'm revealing to you a very top government location and a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes,
I think that's all BS.
yes,
I
I
definitely think
believe
that's all
that.
because first that whole part of like I'm gonna give you this and just randomly throw out New York, and I was like, well, it makes sense to say New York because that's far, right? You're not gonna say you're a few towns over. I think he's a lot closer, but they just say, oh, New York. Yeah, I'll say this: the kids aren't gonna go that far. They're not gonna leave. They're gonna hear New York and say, wow, it's far, especially from Nebraska. But no. The next scene is where I had jumped the gun a little bit. Is where she shows the kids, all right, where are we going? We're going to New York to save my dad. And they're like, yeah. Cool. I mean, that's far, and you're going with no vehicle. They're just gonna go and trek out there. Come, right, Rich?
Well,
Come on.
I will continue that when it's
You
just
know, so that the way Rich is laughing now is the
Richard
way
just popped
I
up.
laugh. You know, and people listening were like, "Oh, Adam, what's going?"
Here
I'm not
is,
gonna
I
lie.
don't have a
I had
problem
to
with
stop
that.
watching 2 or 3 times in disbelief because I'm like, all right, I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, right? And
No,
it's just some of the dialogue and how it's
the
being,
dialogue is bad.
yeah, it just, it
The
just
dialogue
wasn't
is
pulling me in, and it's like, oh, you're gonna say this. Not one of these kids says, "Wow, New York. I think I've seen a map before. We're pretty damn far. How do we get there? Do we have
here.
a car, a boat? Can you drive? Have we ever driven? Do you see any cars here?" I mean, these are just things I think about. You know, if you're going to take a long trip, these are things you would plan out. Does anyone have a compass? Where's the compass? Is this like the Wizard of Oz, follow one road that takes you? I mean, technically you can get on the highway, but are they going to walk a highway all the way through? You got to read the signs. 10 years, signs fall apart. You're going to get lost. I don't know. I was just, maybe some people say, oh, he's just overthinking it. I probably am, but if you're going to risk your life, your 4 kids that are now leaving your safe world, you've never left this safe environment before. Even the Elton, he's left just a little venture out here and there, but he doesn't go for days. He's never slept out there. So to go and say, all right, yeah, we're going to go and take this, who knows how long of a journey to go find your dad, if this is even the correct location, no one even questions that. Iris, who is the smart scientist, the one that's just, she's straight now, she's focused, doesn't even question it. Doesn't even say, hey, do you think this is BS? Do you think she just wrote this on a napkin to try to get us to, think something? Or is this legit? They don't question it. They're like, oh, she gave us the location. Let's go. That's
Well,
it.
yes,
That was my
but
rant
here,
today.
in the weird way, when you're in that young, fresh mind of everything being new, you think that you can accomplish everything. And yes, you may think, I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to rescue my dad and I'm going to fight and kill off all the empties and life is going to be beautiful once again. It's much different in your mind than when you actually have to do it, which we'll see later on.
Yeah, yeah. And that was
So
the other
I
issue I had with Lincoln, just what you said about killing a zombie stuff. They're shown how to do it, but I don't think they've ever seen a horde. I don't think they've
kids,
ever seen a large amount of them all gathered together, and to know that they could migrate that way. So it's not like,
eh,
because they just show 1 or 2 stragglers, right? At the beginning, saying, there's some here, there's
mhm,
2 here. Oh, yeah, they come. I don't think they've ever seen a mass like what we just saw in the season finale of The Walking Dead season 10. If they would have seen something
kids.
like that, shit, turn around, let's go back to class. That was a bad
This is a
idea.
YA version. This is not a rated R version. I seriously, I hope, I don't know how they would pull this off. I don't know we're going to see mass amount of children being killed and
One of them
shown us
has
out of
to
the
die.
area.
I'm just saying
Oh,
that
I'm absolutely cool with that.
this
Like
is, but
I'm
this is
good
what
with
I'm
like
saying.
all of them
We
dying.
If they're gonna stick to traditional form of Walking Dead, there's one thing guaranteed, and all these spin-offs that we've seen and the original is that someone dies. A cast member dies. That's just how it works. It's not
I'm
always
cool
going
with
to be
Silas.
supporting. They're not going to come across other people on the
Well,
road and then they just die. One of the 4 will pass away, or if they quit the show, like
No,
what we've seen on
I
Fear,
know.
then they'll have to get killed off.
well. Hey, that's easy. It'll probably be Huck, and then Felix will become the bad guy and turn
Wait,
evil.
slow your roll, because
Uh,
not that's yours. You jumped the gun because they're not with them. Huck and Felix are still back at the colony. They
Well,
haven't.
but at the end of the episode, they left to search for them.
But that's what I'm saying.
we
We
didn't
didn't
get
get
to the part
we
yet.
didn't get the part yet.
Uh,
There we go. We didn't get to that yet. All right, so Dana, so I think we're up to it, right? That now all 4 members are outside.
Okay, so basically, they have to. This is what it drives me insane. But there's a little back way where it just looks like a not well manicured lawn area, and it
Yeah.
just leads out into the woods, and they just leave out daylight, bright daylight,
Uh-huh.
like it's nothing. Like we don't have security on this entire colony,
Well, that's my
especially
issue that I
if
told
you're
you
a zombie.
before. We didn't see any other. We didn't see any
No,
security. You keep
the only
saying
security we saw was CRM.
yeah,
That was the only, which
that's
I
it.
was wondering if they're the ones who's going to kind of take over the colony. in the sense they're going to be the security. They're going to be the ones who's in charge. Maybe that's their role. And they didn't fully set up plans yet, because the fact that they could just stroll out like it's just walking in the sun and just venture out in the woods and never be seen again is weird.
Yeah, it is very weird.
Even because, like, if I'm sitting and I'm like, I could just walk right in the whole campus and yeah, you're all dead.
Yeah, and the other issue I had is, where are the watchtowers? They should at least put some watchtowers. Who's watching over it to make sure they're safe? What, you're just going to have walkers come up to the gate like that?
Which is weird, because we saw the gate later on, and I'm like, where's everyone else?
That's what I'm saying. It's very empty. Very empty.
Yeah.
It didn't seem right. It should have had, especially for the amount of people. Think about 10,000. That's a lot. That's, if I remember right, that's 5,000 less than the Commonwealth. Because I don't think it was 50,000 or 15,000. Don't quote me on that. I know it's something like that, but Commonwealth had in the thousands like that, and they had everything. They had the guard towers. They had the soldiers. They had this. And this we don't even see that. We just see the Guardian and Husk, Felix and Husk. That's it. Those are the two protecting everybody and no one else. But all right, continue. So
they just basically walk out in the daylight, like, we got it. We're gonna be great, and they come across one walker, or empty, and Iris is like, no, this is my time, this is my chance.
Yeah, because Hope is going to take care of it.
Right, Hope is going to look, well, we're all got it, no, it's going to be me. And so they have their makeshift, I guess you call them axe, where basically it's a blade and it's attached to like a wooden stick, and she goes to hit him, and then it cuts off. No, it doesn't cut off. So she goes to hit him. No, we skipped the scene.
We skipped no, I think it's after this. I know what you're saying, because this is where the part that Rich was jumping into, where Husk and Felix.
Ah, right.
Because they went looking and they didn't know where they were, and they were like, oh, they must have left. Right? So he's putting two and two together with that. So
and they're determined that it was Portland that they went to, but Felix is like, no, I feel like it's something else.
They're going somewhere else. And then we get another cut, and then it's Elizabeth with her group, and they're killing a bunch of walkers in a fielded area. And that's when we get that comment, and we're assuming they're talking about her. They're like, is she here?
Right.
And she's like, no, she's not here. And then she grabs the weapon from the soldier, and she kills one of the walkers. And then that's it. There we go.
Right. Which was kind of weird, because in the beginning it showed that they were spray painting the walkers blue in order to tag them to know their migration.
Yeah, that was Husk and the Guardian Felix. Yeah. They were tagging them. They were like, oh yeah, we're told to do this. So it's
killing
them?
them?
It's... That didn't make sense. That one scene also didn't make more sense. I get you want to tag them and this and that to see where they're going, but how does that play into this? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know.
I think they're going to start taking control of the colony. And so everything that they had in plan is going to be overridden.
Yeah, overridden. Yeah, maybe. But, all right, so all this, I know this is going to sound, I didn't give a shit about any of it. All of it, I'm telling you right now, because this is a seesaw. I do like this series. I feel that this has a lot of promise. I know you took a look. You said you saw on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like a 45 people are gonna poo-poo all over this, and when yeah, I get it, but see the big picture. Now think about it. They're out. All that shit in the colony. I did not like any of it, but I like the fact of this story of 4 kids now just having to venture. They're not going to settle. All this time that we've watched Walking Dead Fear, they're looking for a home. They're looking to settle so that way they can, lay their roots and be like, all right, this is it, a secure place. No, we have these 4 kids that are going to constantly keep moving. This brings up endless possibilities. They're going to come across all kinds of locations and places and people, because that's a long trip from Nebraska to New York. And
also, also, there will be a ton of character development, because, as y'all said, it's the impression that they have lived a sheltered life. So they are going to learn that things are not quite as easy as they think it is to adjust to this type of living in these scenarios.
And the one thing that I like, the one key part that I liked about this is that all 4 members were all in on this. I hate
Yeah.
whenever you do these type of shows of or in any group situations. There's always one who's scared, who's like, "Hey, we should go back." We see what Eugene and the other one. You know, what I mean, no, I'm not sure about this. No. It's always that one doubter. There's no doubters here. All four are like, "You're in. Yeah, I'm in." It's almost like a Goonie situation. You have to, yeah, let's do this. I'm down. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, whatever. Let's go, and that's it. And then the fact that they come across with that one walker, that was a test. Not a single one said let's turn back. No, or second guessed it. You know, they were like, no, we gotta keep going. So let's kill. Who's gonna? Oh, you're gonna kill? All right, whatever. This is what we gotta do. So it's no fear, and that's the other plus side to this. These four kids, they have no fear, and they're going out there. And I don't really see them as kids. These are teenagers, but they look older than
Yes.
teenagers. You know what I mean? It has that weird vibe where it's like there's actors that are supposed to be playing a certain age, but they sort of age out of that. I don't know, whatever. It's fine. I enjoy the premise. I enjoy where they're going with this. I think this, if told right and engaging and throw in some fear into this could be amazing. Because there's going to be a lot of running. You know that. There's going to be a lot of running, a lot of screaming, a lot of craziness, a lot of violence. It's going to be a rough ride. So I don't know the part of with Husk and Felix, how far they're going to... Because think about it. If they leave the community, then there really is nobody watching over these people. And you just gave Elizabeth all this control. Now, you've seen ahead already, so you're already good to go for the next one. And people, we're not going down that road. We'll talk about it next week. Next week we'll talk about that one. But from what we've seen here, I'm sure the reaction for a lot of people, when we have already talked to some of the reaction, isn't positive. Because it's a slow burn. It's a lot of dialogue that feels out of place. But then again, I think that this is just where they're trying to get to the point. And once we get to the point, which is, hey, 4 kids taking a big trip to New York on their own during apocalypse. Are you in? If someone was to tell me just like that, pitch it like that, because you have to do a quick pitch, that works for me. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, let's see where this goes. All right, how's it going? Is it PG or what are we talking about here? Freeform type, happy-go-lucky? No. There's going to be some issues going to go down. Okay, then yeah, I'm all in. This works for me. All right.
All right. My issue was kind of that it could have been done better in the sense of how it looked. The zombies itself looked very cheap. I felt that the editing could have been better. The dialogue could have been better. Some of the acting scenes could have been better. There was a lot of problems with just basic plot holes and what's going on.
Tons of plot holes. Tons
of plot holes. But here's the thing. I think that it suffers from exhaustion in the sense that the Walking Dead universe has been around for 10 years?
Yeah.
11? So it's kind of the same story but told differently. And therefore it may stifle what it can do creatively because you're also trying to incorporate fear and the regular Walking Dead and what happened with Rick Grimes. So because of that, you have to build around a storyline that you want to tell for a whole nother television show and a whole separate movie that we have no idea when we're even getting. They didn't film yet. So because of that, it kind of stunts the growth of where the show could go. Without spoiling anything from what I have seen later on, like we said, it is a coming of age story. And I appreciate the fact that these kids, what they think is going to be an easy task, they learn is much harder. And because of that, they have to really stick together. There is no, I'm not doing this anymore, and wanders off. This is either we all die together or we're all going to live together.
Yeah. And that's why when you were saying, oh, well, they're not really friends, they're just acquaintances. I'm like, this is a big commitment to make. Right. If you're just acquaintances, it's like, hey, I'm going to follow these 2 girls. They're going out into the world to New York.
We don't see like they have a relationship.
Yeah, I know we don't, and that's the sad part because they should have just made it seem like, oh yeah, we are a crew. This is our crew here. That we're all buddies, and it's all for one for all type of thing. So they're looking for their dad. We respect their dad. We see there's some trouble. We don't trust this lady. You want to leave? Yeah, let's go. We're gonna go find him. All right, let's go. That's why it's important that one scene of just showing that they do have that class of how to kill the empties is
Mm-hmm.
important because then that way it plants that seed. Hey, yeah, you're seeing these kids. You're like, oh, well, how are they gonna fight? Well, oh, they were trained. So maybe it's not just a semester of it. Maybe this is something that they always have every year, and it's just an advanced level. So who knows? Maybe in one of the episodes we'll see that one of them knows how to set up booby traps.
Well, remember, the guy Felix was breaking down. You hit him in the head if you can't get him in the right.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, that's what I'm saying. But that could
Okay,
be one level, you know what I mean? And then it could be our next grade. Now we're doing in tier two, and this is how you use a bow. You know what I mean? And this is how you shoot at them, all right? And then
right.
tier three, you set up traps. I'm assuming that we're going to see some of that. That some of these, not one or all, they're all going to have a certain skill that helps, whether it's tracking abilities or setting traps or something. There's got to be something specific. Like for example, with when Elton said, "Hey, I know karate," you know, that's like, all right. Well, no one really laughed or anything, but it's like, all right, that could be. I guess that could be helpful. And hell, that might be something fun. That might be a Cobra Kai situation where we just see him kicking zombie
He's the
ass.
he's the no he's the guy.
You know,
He grows up to be the guy.
yeah,
If I'm-
exactly. He's doing some badass shit. You know what I mean? We got another Jesus over here. You know, so who knows? Who knows? I'm looking forward to it. So then the big picture is what I'm seeing. So that's why I'm still very positive on it. Now that they're out, I didn't like this pilot, but I like the premise. And I think it's going to go. And Rich, what do you think? Are you sold? Is this going to be your best show? Forget all the other shows we talked about. Forget about Lovecraft Country. Forget about The Boys. Is this
Oh.
your show? World Beyond. Boom. Say it. Say it's your show.
Hell no, it's not
Oh
my show.
shit! He said it's not his show.
Like I
Okay.
said,
Oh.
I do believe the show has promise. I look forward to learning more about it, but you cannot compare this to The Boys, and you definitely cannot compare it to
No,
Lovecraft
absolutely not.
Country.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you know what else? I don't know the rating on this. Do you know the rating of it? Is this PG-13
This
or
it would
PG?
be.
It's very
No,
important to
no.
say,
I
or
think
like
it's
teen,
13 because
a teen,
there's. It should be. Let's see.
because
Um.
that's very telling to see how far are they going to go with certain scenes and what we're gonna see. If we're gonna see beheadings or if we're gonna see like sanctuary type situations and those type of, it's gonna be. It's also some of the dialogue that can come out because it's a dark world out there. We know it. We've seen it in earlier episodes of The Walking Dead how dark it can get, you know, with the situations here. So it's. I'm just curious to see where they go with that, and who knows.
TV 14.
TV 14. All right, it's a teen. It's a thing. Yeah, it's a teen one. Okay. So they could go down that road. They could definitely go down that road. So I'm telling people, give it a shot. This episode, watch it. You might not like it. You might want to poo-poo on it, but let's ride this out a little bit
It
longer.
improves.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
that's the other
information,
part
but
that I
it
wanted to mention.
improves.
You said you seen the second episode. You said it improves.
Yes.
That's good, and I
It's
believe
it,
you. I believe you because they're out. If you would have told me it improves and these four are still in the campus, I'm like, no, I don't care. It's boring.
it 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 kind of shows they realize that they're not really fully what they think they can accomplish, but it's really cute how they try to still stick together
Oh, I
and
get it.
they try to do it together.
I'm looking.
And there are things that are little that it's still a little too convenient, but they try.
They try. And you know what? We'll try to like it also. So there you go, people. This was our first review of World Beyond Episode 1 Brave. We will be back on the 11th, or probably before the 11th, for Fear the Walking Dead. That returns that's Season 6. It's going to be interesting. See where that crew is going, because that crew has really dwindled when it comes to the original cast members. And if I remember correctly, Morgan is about to die. He's shot dead. Well, he's bleeding out, and he's in the barn, and there's walkers all around him, and no one's out to help him. So, is he gonna die? Who knows? I doubt it, though. Right, and did you interview him, Dana? Did you interview Morgan?
No,
No,
I have not.
not yet. Not yet. All right. Well, we'll see. All right. So that is it for Rich. You got anything you want to say on our little out?
Oh no, thank everybody for checking out the shows. We have more content coming, so stay tuned.
Yep, like I said, this is I Am Negan. We are covering everything Walking Dead, from the shows, the comics, the toys, you name it. We're covering it. We also have a Discord that I'm going to post soon, so that way if you have any comments or anything you want to talk about or discuss, or you find something and it's relevant to Walking Dead, share it. That's it. You can post it in there. You can follow us on Spotify and iTunes. Right now, we have the image. I'm trying to upload the image, but if you do a search on Spotify, I Am Negan, it's the only one that comes up. Go ahead, subscribe. We're there. We're also on YouTube. So we're everywhere. This is it. We got a lot of content we're covering. The Walking Dead is not gone. The universe is still living on, and we're here. So peace out, and we will see you next week.